I found the note wedged between Ella's math homework and her favorite unicorn folder. Just a simple piece of paper, really, but the words on it made my hands shake so hard I had to sit down on the kitchen floor. My name is Daisy, and until 5 minutes ago, I thought I was doing a decent job at this whole motherhood thing. But there it was, in my mother-in-law's perfect cursive, documentation of maternal negligence, instance number 7. The list that followed was methodical, dated, time-stamped. Child arrived at school without proper winter coat, temperature 45 degrees Fahrenheit. That was the day Ella insisted on wearing her favorite sweater. The one with the rainbow sequins. Inappropriate sugar content in packed lunch. The day I let her have 2 cookies instead of 1. Consistently late pickup from piano lessons demonstrates inability to maintain schedule. What are you doing down there? Ryan's voice made me jump. My husband stood in the doorway, his tie loosened after a long day at the office, looking at me like I'd lost my mind. Your mother. My voice came out raw. Your mother is building a case against me. What? Let me see that. He reached for the paper, but I clutched it to my chest. She wants to take Ella away from me. The words tasted like acid. Your mother is documenting every little thing I do wrong, Ryan. Every single mistake. He ran a hand through his hair, that nervous gesture I used to find endearing. Come on, Daisy. You're overreacting. Mother's just particular about things. Particular? I stood up, my legs steadier than I expected. She's gathering evidence. These aren't just notes, they're ammunition. Where's Ella? He asked, changing the subject. Upstairs, doing homework. Where she's been for the last hour while I've been discovering that your mother is plotting to prove I'm an unfit mother. Ryan stepped closer, trying to take my hand. I pulled away. Don't. I shoved the paper at his chest. Read it yourself. Then tell me I'm overreacting. His eyes scanned the page, and I watched his face change. Confusion, disbelief, then something darker. This doesn't mean 7 instances, Ryan. She's numbered them. There are 6 more notes like this somewhere. Maybe in her desk, maybe with her lawyer. But they exist. The sound of small feet on the stairs made us both freeze. Ella appeared in the doorway, her dark curls escaping from her braids that Margaret had criticized as too messy last week. Mommy? Can I have a snack? I forced a smile. Of course, baby. How about some apple slices? With peanut butter? You bet. I moved to the fridge, hyper-aware now of every action. Would Margaret document this too? Instance number 8, insufficient protein portion in afternoon snack. Ryan crumpled the paper in his fist. I'll talk to her. No. I carefully arranged apple slices on Ella's favorite plate, the blue one with clouds. Talking isn't enough anymore. Your mother has made her move. Now I'm making mine. What does that mean? I looked at our daughter, happily dipping her apple in peanut butter, completely unaware of the war brewing around her. Then I met Ryan's worried gaze. It means I'm done playing nice. If Margaret wants to document my failures as a mother, maybe it's time I start keeping some records of my own. About her. Daisy. Did you know she picks Ella up from piano lessons sometimes without telling me? Just shows up early and takes her for ice cream. Ella mentioned it last week. Funny how that didn't make it onto her list of instances. Ryan's face paled. She wouldn't. She would. She is. I wiped peanut butter from Ella's chin. And she's about to learn that she's not the only one who knows how to play this game. The Sunday dinner tradition at Margaret's house felt like walking into a beautifully decorated minefield. I watched Ella pick at her roast beef, her shoulders tight, nothing like her usual bouncy self. 3 weeks had passed since I found that note, and my daughter's transformation around her grandmother was becoming impossible to ignore. Ella, darling, sit up straight, Margaret said, reaching across to adjust my daughter's posture. A proper young lady never slouches. I gripped my fork tighter. She's 6, Margaret. Not attending finishing school. Which is precisely why these formative years are so crucial. Margaret's smile could freeze hell. Speaking of education, I ran into Caroline Mitchell at the club yesterday. Her granddaughter goes to Whitmore Academy. They have an excellent elementary program. Ryan's head snapped up. Mother, we've discussed this. Ella's happy at her current school. Of course she is. But happiness isn't everything. Margaret dabbed her lips with her napkin. I hear the waiting list for next year is quite lengthy. Though I'm sure if someone with the right connections made a call. May I be excused? Ella's voice was barely a whisper. I nodded, watching her slide off her chair and practically run from the dining room. The click of her Mary Janes on the hardwood felt like tiny hammers in my chest. She seems anxious lately, Margaret observed, her voice dripping with false concern. Have you considered taking her to see someone? I know an excellent child psychologist. The only thing making her anxious is, I started, but Ryan's hand on my knee stopped me. Actually, Mother, we should discuss something else. Ryan cleared his throat. Daisy mentioned you've been picking Ella up from piano without telling us. Margaret's face didn't change, but her fingers tightened around her wine glass. Oh. I thought it was understood that I might occasionally treat my granddaughter. Unless that's somehow inappropriate now? It's inappropriate when you don't tell us, I said. Just like it's inappropriate to slip notes into her backpack. The silence that followed was deafening. Margaret set down her wine glass with deliberate precision. I'm sure I don't know what you mean. Don't you? I pulled out my phone, showing her the photo I'd taken of her note. Instance number 7? How many more are there, Margaret? Ryan shifted uncomfortably. Mother, we need to establish some boundaries. Boundaries? Margaret's laugh was sharp. That's rich, coming from the woman who married into this family with nothing but a high school diploma and a waitressing job. Tell me, Daisy, how is that going? Still picking up extra shifts at that charming little diner? I work hard to provide for my family. Of course you do, dear. And it's admirable, really. But is it enough? She turned to Ryan. Darling, you must think of Ella's future. The opportunities she deserves. The connections she needs. Stop it. Ryan's voice was quiet but firm. You're crossing a line. Am I? Or am I simply saying what everyone else is thinking? Margaret stood, smoothing her silk blouse. I should check on Ella. She seemed upset. Don't you dare. I blocked her path. You don't get to use my daughter's feelings as a weapon. I heard the most fascinating thing at Bridge Club last week, Margaret continued as if I hadn't spoken. About your grandmother's difficulties before she took you in. Addiction runs in families, they say. My blood ran cold. How had she? That's enough. Ryan stood so abruptly his chair scraped against the floor. We're leaving. Now. In the car, Ella fell asleep almost immediately, exhausted from the tension. Ryan drove in silence until we were halfway home. I had no idea she would. Save it. I stared out the window. Your mother just threatened to dig up my family's past to use against me. To take our daughter away. And you sat there letting her until the very end. What do you want me to do? I turned to look at him, really look at him. I want you to choose Ryan. Because this isn't just about me anymore. Look at what she's doing to Ella. He gripped the steering wheel tighter, and I knew. He wasn't ready to choose. Not yet. Fine. I pulled out my phone and texted Sam, need your help. Time to start digging. Sam's office at the local newspaper wasn't much bigger than a closet, but it had everything we needed, mainly access to public records and a friend crazy enough to help me dig through Margaret's past. You're not going to like this, Sam said, spinning her monitor toward me. Your mother-in-law has been meeting with Jerome Patterson. My stomach dropped. Everyone in town knew Patterson specialized in custody battles, and he never lost. How did you find this? Court registry. She filed preliminary paperwork last Tuesday. Sam's fingers flew across the keyboard. They're building a case based on financial stability and educational opportunities. Classic elite versus working class strategy. I leaned against her desk, steadying myself. She's really doing it. She's trying to take my daughter. There's more. Sam hesitated. Margaret's been talking to your old supervisor at the Grove Diner. The one who fired you 3 years ago. The memory hit like a slap, Margaret showing up during my shift, making impossible demands, complaining to management until they let me go. I'd always suspected she'd orchestrated it, but could never prove it. She's systematically destroying every part of my life. My voice sounded hollow even to me. First my job, now my daughter. Not if we can help it. Sam pulled up another window. Look at this. 25 years ago, Margaret Caldwell Hayes wasn't exactly the society queen she pretends to be. The newspaper article was yellowed with age, but the headline was clear: local woman claims inheritance through contested marriage. Below it, a younger Margaret stood outside a courthouse, her face tight with determination. Holy shit, I whispered. She married into the Hayes family. Just like she accuses me of doing. And not everyone was happy about it. There were allegations that she manipulated Ryan's father when he was vulnerable, right after his first wife died. Sam's eyes gleamed. The case was settled quietly, but the records still exist. My phone buzzed, a text from Ryan: mother's hosting dinner party Saturday. Wants us there. Important clients attending. Perfect timing, Sam said, reading over my shoulder. Public event, lots of witnesses. No. I straightened up. Too risky. If I confront her there. Who said anything about confronting? Sam grinned. Sometimes the best revenge is just knowing when to drop the right information into the right ears. I stared at the article, at young Margaret's familiar calculating expression. I need copies of everything. Already on it. But Daisy. Sam caught my arm. Be careful. People like Margaret, they're most dangerous when they're cornered. I know. I gathered the papers she'd printed. But she started this war. I'm just making sure I don't fight it alone. Leaving Sam's office, I nearly collided with someone in the hallway. My papers scattered across the floor, and as I bent to gather them, I froze. There, in perfectly polished shoes, stood Margaret. What an unexpected pleasure, she said, her voice dripping honey. Doing some research? I stood slowly, clutching the papers to my chest. What are you doing here, Margaret? Oh, just dropping off an announcement for the hospital fundraiser. Her eyes flickered to the papers in my hands. You know, dear, desperation isn't attractive. It rather proves my point about your suitability. Funny you should mention suitability. I met her gaze steadily. I've been learning quite a bit about that lately. About how people can reinvent themselves, change their circumstances. You'd know all about that, wouldn't you? For just a moment, her mask slipped. Fear flickered across her face before she recovered. Be very careful, Daisy. Her voice was soft, dangerous. You're playing a game you don't understand. No, Margaret. For the first time, I understand perfectly. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. You're not the only one who knows how to fight for what's yours. She reached out, straightening my collar with cold fingers. Saturday night, then? Ryan mentioned you might not attend. But I insist. Family should stick together, don't you think? I watched her walk away, her heels clicking on the linoleum like a countdown. My phone buzzed again, another text from Ryan: please come Saturday. Need you there. I typed back, wouldn't miss it. The game was changing. Margaret had her lawyers and her social connections. But I had something better, the truth about her past, and nothing left to lose. The folder sat on our kitchen table like a loaded gun. Inside were the documents Sam had helped me gather, proof that Margaret's perfect life was built on the same kind of social climbing she accused me of. I'd spent 3 hours trying to decide whether to show them to Ryan. The front door opened, and I heard Ella's voice chattering about her day at school. Ryan's responses were distracted, tense. They'd been to another piano lesson, one Margaret had insisted on attending. "Mommy." Ella ran in for a hug, but stopped short when she saw my face. "Are you okay?" "Just tired, baby." I forced a smile. "Why don't you go start your homework?" "I need to talk to Daddy." Once she was upstairs, Ryan loosened his tie and poured himself a drink. Not a good sign. Mother's lawyer was at the lesson today. The words hit like ice water. "What?" "Patterson. He was just dropping by to discuss the upcoming fundraiser." Ryan's laugh was bitter. "Except he spent 20 minutes asking Ella about her school, her friends, her routine." My hand crept toward the folder. "And you let him?" What was I supposed to do? 'Cause a scene in front of our daughter? He downed his scotch. "Mother says he's helping with her estate planning. Making sure Ella's future is secure." Estate planning. The words tasted like ash. "Is that what we're calling it now?" "Daisy. Your mother is building a custody case against me, and you're standing there making excuses for her." I pushed the folder toward him. "Do you want to know what else she's been planning?" He stared at the folder but didn't touch it. "I don't want to know." "You need to know." My voice cracked. "Because right now, you're choosing ignorance over protecting your family." "I am protecting my family." His shout startled us both. Upstairs, Ella's music started playing, her way of drowning out our arguments. "By letting your mother's lawyer interrogate our daughter? By watching her systematically destroy my reputation?" I stood up, my legs shaking. "Do you know what she did to me at the Grove? Why I really lost that job? That was years ago. It was practice." I opened the folder, spreading out the old newspaper clippings. "Just like what she did to your father's first wife's family." "Did you know about that? About how she manipulated the inheritance?" Ryan's face went pale. "Where did you get these?" "The same place your mother's getting her ammunition, public records." I watched him scan the headlines. "She's done this before, Ryan. She finds people's weaknesses and exploits them. And now she's doing it to me." "Stop." He gathered the papers roughly, shoving them back in the folder. "Just stop. This isn't helping." "Then what would help? What do I have to do to make you see what's happening?" The silence stretched between us, filled only by the muffled sound of Ella's piano practice above. "Saturday's dinner party," he finally said. "Mother's invited Patterson and half the hospital board. If you come, if you play nice, maybe we can." "Play nice?" I laughed, the sound sharp and foreign. "While she parades me around like evidence. Look everyone, here's my son's unfortunate choice. See how unsuitable she is. Please." He reached for my hand. "For Ella's sake. For our family." I pulled away, remembering Margaret's cold fingers straightening my collar. The threat in her voice. "You want me to go to that party? Fine. I'll go." I picked up the folder. "But not to play nice." "What does that mean?" "It means I'm done being the victim in your mother's game." I headed for the stairs, then turned back. "You should decide whose side you're really on, Ryan. Because Saturday night, everything changes." His voice stopped me. "Are you giving me an ultimatum?" "No." I met his eyes. "I'm giving you a warning. The same courtesy your mother never gave me." Upstairs, Ella's music had stopped. In the silence, I could hear her crying softly. Another casualty in Margaret's war. I had 2 days until the dinner party. 2 days to decide if saving my family meant being willing to destroy it first. Margaret's dinner party hummed with wealth and whispers. I adjusted my borrowed cocktail dress, Sam's idea of armor for battle, and watched the lawyer, Patterson, work the room. He'd been watching me all evening, measuring every move like I was evidence being catalogued. More wine, dear. Margaret appeared at my elbow, perfect in pearls and silk. You seem tense. I'm fine. I gripped my glass tighter. Though I noticed you seated me next to the social services director. Subtle. Mrs. Chen? Pure coincidence. Margaret's smile didn't reach her eyes. Though she did mention some fascinating statistics about children from disadvantaged backgrounds. Across the room, Ryan was deep in conversation with Patterson. My husband's shoulders were tight, his gestures controlled. He hadn't spoken to me since we arrived. Shall we step into the study? Margaret's voice dropped. There's something we should discuss privately. The study was exactly as I remembered, dark wood, leather chairs, photographs of Ryan throughout the years. But now I noticed something else, a legal document on the desk, Patterson's business card placed deliberately beside it. You're planning to file next week. It wasn't a question. It doesn't have to be this way. Margaret closed the door. I'm prepared to be generous. Full college fund for Ella, private school tuition, a comfortable monthly allowance for you. In exchange for what? A clean break. No messy custody battle. You'll have supervised visitation, of course, but you really think you can buy my daughter? The words came out sharp enough to cut. I think I can provide what you can't. She picked up the document. Stability. Opportunities. A legacy. Like the legacy you stole from your husband's first wife? Margaret's hand trembled slightly. I see you've been digging deep enough to find the truth about how you really joined the Hayes family. I stepped closer. Does Ryan know his father was still grieving when you swooped in? That his first wife's family contested the will? Ancient history. Really? Because I have copies of everything. The court records, the newspaper articles, the original inheritance documents. I watched her face pale. What would your society friends think if they knew? You wouldn't dare. Try me. My voice was steady despite my racing heart. I learned from the best, after all. You taught me exactly how to destroy someone's reputation. The study door opened. Ryan stood there, Patterson beside him. Mother? Daisy? What's going on? Margaret recovered first. Your wife was just threatening to spread vicious lies about our family. Not lies. I met Ryan's eyes. Ask her about the Harrison estate. About how your father's first wife died. About the real reason the inheritance was contested. That's enough. Margaret's composure cracked. I won't stand here and let you. Let me what? Tell the truth? I turned to Patterson. You should review your client's history before filing any custody suits. It might save everyone some embarrassment. Custody suits? Ryan's voice was dangerous. Mother, what is he doing here? Margaret stepped between us. Ryan, darling, I can explain. Can you explain this too? I pulled out my phone, showing the photo of her note about my instances of negligence. The room went silent. Through the door, we could hear Ella playing piano for the party guests, a perfect performance, just as Margaret had demanded. I'm trying to protect this family, Margaret whispered. No. Ryan's voice was hollow. You're trying to control it. Like you always have. I can destroy you, Margaret hissed at me. One word about your grandmother's past. Try it. I moved toward the door. But remember, I have nothing left to lose. Can you say the same? I walked out, leaving them there. Ryan's anger, Margaret's fear, Patterson's calculated silence. In the living room, Ella finished her piece to polite applause. Ready to go home, baby? I held out my hand. She nodded, relief flooding her face. As we left, I heard Ryan's voice rise behind us, demanding answers from his mother. The war wasn't over. But for the first time, I wasn't the only one fighting it. Ryan didn't come home that night. Or the next. On the third day, Patterson's office sent the custody papers, not to our house, but to my workplace. The lunch rush watched me crumble in my waitress uniform, exactly as Margaret had planned. I quit on the spot. No point giving her more ammunition about my unstable employment history. She's playing dirty now, Sam said, scanning the documents spread across her kitchen table. Using Ryan's name on the custody filing, claiming abandonment since he's staying at the family estate. He's choosing her. The words felt like glass in my throat. After everything, he's actually choosing her. My phone buzzed, another text from Margaret, Ella's piano recital is tomorrow. Don't make a scene by attending. Ryan agrees it's best if you stay away. Sam grabbed my phone before I could respond. She's baiting you. She wants you to react, to prove her point about your instability. What's left to prove? I gestured at the papers. She's won. She has Ryan, the lawyers, the money, the social connections. All I have is the truth. Sam's voice was firm. You have proof of what she did to get her wealth, her status. And using it would destroy Ryan's entire world. I pressed my palms against my eyes. Everything he thought he knew about his family, his father, his childhood, gone. How is that protecting anyone? The doorbell rang. Through Sam's window, I saw Margaret's Mercedes parked outside. I'll get rid of her, Sam started, but I stood up. No. Let her come. Margaret swept in like she owned the place, her designer handbag probably worth more than Sam's monthly rent. Really, Daisy? Hiding at your friend's house? How predictably common. What do you want? She pulled out an envelope. A solution. A generous monthly allowance, supervised visitation with Ella, and your agreement to leave the state. You really think you can buy me off? I think you're running out of options. She glanced meaningfully at the custody papers. Ryan's signature is already on these. He knows what's best for Ella. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. The check inside had more zeros than I'd ever seen. Why are you doing this? My voice cracked. You have everything. Your status, your son, your reputation. Why destroy what's left of my family? Because you're a reminder. Margaret's mask slipped, just for a moment. Every time I look at you, I see what I used to be. Desperate. Grasping. Willing to do anything to belong. I'm nothing like you. No? She smiled coldly. Then why did you dig up my past? Why threaten to expose old secrets? Face it, Daisy. You're becoming exactly what you hate. The truth of it hit like a physical blow. In trying to fight Margaret, I'd started using her tactics. Manipulation. Threats. Secret keeping. The recital starts at 7, Margaret continued. Make the right choice. Sign the papers, take the money, let Ella remember you as the mother who loved her enough to let her go. After she left, Sam tried to rally my spirits, but I barely heard her. I was staring at the custody papers, at Ryan's signature beneath Margaret's careful lies. My phone chimed, a video from Ella. She was at the piano, playing the piece for tomorrow's recital. Love you, Mommy, she whispered at the end. Will you be there? I thought of Margaret's words about becoming what you hate. About choices and consequences. About love and letting go. I need your car, I told Sam. For what? The recital. I'm going. Daisy, no. That's what she wants, to provoke you into making a scene. I know. I gathered the custody papers and Margaret's check. But I'm not going to give her what she wants. I'm going to give her something she doesn't expect. Which is. I looked at the proof of Margaret's past, the ammunition I'd gathered so carefully. The truth. All of it. But not the way she thinks. Sam grabbed my arm. You're not making sense. For the first time in weeks, I am. I headed for the door. I know how to end this. But first, I need to make a stop. Where? To see Ryan's father's first wife. The one person who knows exactly what Margaret is capable of and how to stop her. Elizabeth Hayes lived in a modest house across town, nothing like the mansion she'd once shared with Ryan's father. Her eyes were sharp as she studied the documents spread across her kitchen table. So Margaret's at it again. She traced a finger over the custody papers. History repeating itself. You lost your stepdaughter, I said quietly. Claire. She was 12 when Margaret swooped in. Elizabeth's smile was bitter. By the time the dust settled, Margaret had everything, the house, the social standing, and complete custody of Claire. Sound familiar? The recital would start in an hour. My phone buzzed with another message from Ryan. Mother says you're planning something. Don't make this worse. Margaret told everyone I was unstable, Elizabeth continued. That I was a threat to Claire's future. The same lies she's telling about you now. How did she do it? She found my weakness, my past marriage, my financial struggles. But her real weapon. Elizabeth pulled out an old photograph. She knew Richard's secret. The real reason he married her so quickly after my divorce. The photo showed a younger Margaret with Ryan's father. But it was dated 3 months before Elizabeth's divorce was final. They were having an affair. Elizabeth nodded. She threatened to expose him, to ruin his reputation. He chose her over everything, his integrity, his daughter, me. Like Ryan's choosing her over us now. No. Elizabeth stood. Ryan's choosing what he knows. What he thinks is true. She grabbed her car keys. Come on. Where are we going? To your daughter's recital. It's time. Margaret faced all her ghosts at once. The concert hall was packed when we arrived. I spotted Ryan in the front row beside Margaret, who went pale at the sight of Elizabeth. You can't be here, Margaret hissed as we approached. Actually, I can. Elizabeth's voice carried. Claire's performing tonight too. My granddaughter. The one you kept from me for 15 years. Ryan's head snapped up. What is she talking about, Mother? Nothing, darling. Just more attempts to cause trouble. Show him, I said quietly. Show him the photo, Elizabeth. Show him when it was really taken. Margaret lunged for her purse, but Elizabeth was faster. The photograph landed in Ryan's lap. 3 months before the divorce, Elizabeth said clearly. While your father was still married to me. While Margaret was just the family friend, helping everyone through a difficult time. Is this true? Ryan's voice shook. Everything I did for you. Margaret's composure cracked. Your father was weak. He would have lost everything in the scandal. I protected you, protected our family name. By destroying other families? I stepped forward. By taking Claire from Elizabeth? By trying to take Ella from me? You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Ryan stood, finally looking at his mother, really looking at her. You're doing to Daisy exactly what you did to Elizabeth. Using the same threats, the same tactics. Ryan, please. Did you forge my signature on those custody papers? Margaret's silence was answer enough. The lights dimmed. On stage, Ella appeared in her recital dress, followed by a teenage girl I didn't recognize. Claire, I realized. Elizabeth's granddaughter. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer began, a special duet. I won't let you destroy another family, Mother. Ryan's voice was quiet but firm. Not this time. He moved to stand beside me, taking my hand as our daughter began to play. Margaret sank into her seat, watching as 15 years of carefully constructed lies crumbled around her. The music swelled, Ella and Claire playing together, two pieces of Margaret's fractured legacy creating something unexpectedly beautiful. "I'm sorry," Ryan whispered. "I should have seen it sooner." I squeezed his hand, watching Margaret's face as she realized what she'd lost. Not just control or power, but the very thing she'd fought so hard to protect, her family's trust. Sometimes, I realized, the best revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about forcing them to face the truth they've spent a lifetime hiding from. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday, hand-delivered to our new apartment across town. Margaret's precise handwriting on cream-colored stationery, the Hayes family crest embossed in gold. I almost burned it unopened. "You should read it," Ryan said quietly, watching me turn the envelope over and over. "She's been trying to reach out for weeks." "Through her lawyers?" "No. Just her." He touched my shoulder. "The therapy seems to be helping." From the next room came the sound of Ella practicing piano, no more formal lessons, no more recitals, just playing for the joy of it. Claire had been teaching her new pieces, their weekly sessions becoming a bridge between fractured families. I opened the letter. "Dear Daisy," it began. "I've written this letter 17 times. Each version felt false, like the carefully constructed image I spent decades maintaining. So let me try something new, the truth." My hands shook as I read on. "I saw myself in you, the desperate need to belong, to prove yourself worthy." It terrified me. I destroyed Elizabeth's family to protect my secrets, to secure my place. When you came along, so much like I used to be, I convinced myself I was protecting Ryan, protecting Ella. I was wrong. I was protecting my own lies. Ryan's arm slipped around my waist as I continued reading. "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that I understand now what real strength looks like. It's not in maintaining perfect appearances or controlling others. It's in fighting for love without becoming the very thing you're fighting against. You managed what I never could, you exposed the truth without losing yourself in the process." The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Margaret standing there, alone. No designer handbag, no perfect makeup. Just a grandmother holding a small gift-wrapped package. I opened the door but blocked the entrance. "I brought this for Ella," she said, her voice lacking its usual polish. "And for you, if you'll accept it." The package contained a photo album. Inside were pictures of Ryan's childhood, but also newspaper clippings of his father's first marriage, Elizabeth and Claire. The truth Margaret had hidden for so long. Our family's real history, she explained. All of it. The good and the bad. Ella should know where she comes from, all sides of it. Why now? Because secrets destroy families. I should know. She stepped back. "I'll go. I just wanted to deliver this myself." Wait. The word surprised us both. Ella's inside. Playing Claire's new piece. Hope flickered across Margaret's face, quickly suppressed. "I don't expect." 10 minutes, I said firmly. Supervised. "And if she seems uncomfortable, you leave immediately." "Of course." She hesitated. "Thank you, Daisy." As Margaret moved past me, I caught her arm. "This doesn't fix everything." "I know. But it's a start." Ryan squeezed my hand as we watched Margaret approach the piano, where Ella sat playing. Our daughter's fingers faltered for a moment, then steadied as she launched into a new song, one she'd composed herself. Full of unexpected harmonies and resolved discords. I thought about revenge, about how I'd started this journey wanting to destroy Margaret, just as she tried to destroy me. Somewhere along the way, the victory had become something different, not in breaking her, but in breaking free of the cycle she'd created. The photo album sat heavy in my hands, full of truths both painful and necessary. Like Ella's music, our family's story would continue to evolve, finding harmony in unexpected places. Margaret sat quietly, listening to her granddaughter play, her perfect posture finally showing cracks of genuine emotion. She caught my eye across the room, and in that moment, we both understood, sometimes the greatest revenge is refusing to become what hurt you. I closed the door on the empty hallway, turning back to my family, scarred but healing, changed but whole. The war was over. Now came the harder part, learning to live with peace.